One of the hard lessons of history is that it has a way of defying even the best of intentions, especially on matters of war and peace.
As Andrew Carnegie himself said, as I grow older, I pay less attention to what men say. I just watch what they do. This institution has definitely done just that, and the world is a far better place for it.
I appreciate the work Carnegie Endowment does. I appreciate its work in the area of peace. And above all, an approach that says we want to make a difference.
It is truly a global think tank which is completely and appropriately reflective of the nature of the challenges that we face today.
The story begins with this young boy, Andrew Carnegie, who was born into poverty, emigrated as a 7-year-old with his parents to this country, achieved a huge fortune through sheer ability and determination, hard work, the American success story, and then arrived at this extraordinary commitment to give it all away. He created 2,000 public libraries and 24 institutions. The issue that was as close to his heart as any was international peace. And so he created the Carnegie Endowment for International Peace.
Going all the way back to that great gift of $10 million that Andrew Carnegie made, realizing full well that for him and a lot of other industrialists at the time, achieving international peace was only done through enhancing international law and building international institutions that would support that goal, which was a lofty one.
Mr. Gorbachev, open this gate.
For more than half a century, the world was defined by the Cold War. But by about 10 years ago, it was clear that the new driving force, the shaping force of international affairs was globalization.
There was a time when Washington was the sole power in the world. The world has changed. There are other very important power centers. Being on the ground there is a way of having much more influence than trying to do all this from a Washington-centered organization.
And that was the vision that brought us to try to create the world's first global think tank. Not an American institution with branches overseas, but an international institution made up of think tanks that lived in different societies, but were all part of one institution.
We have to understand the rest of the world much better than we have in the past. We have to speak the language and spend time engaging in multidisciplinary research with others from around the world.
First of all, you can't be a global think tank without having a presence in China. Plain and simple.
If we can find ways to enhance understanding and to increase cooperation with China on these major global issues that affect the entire world, we also have an opportunity then to help transform the U.S.-China relationship into something that is more richer and something that's contributing to the world.
We are seen as a serious think tank. It doesn't mean that people agree with what we say. It doesn't mean that people just pull a page from study and turn it into a government policy paper.
When people look at us, they don't think that they're necessarily coming to work for a Washington think tank. They're coming to work for a Russian think tank.
What is said here and what is written here gets a lot of attention.
Carnegie Europe has a unique role in Europe. And that is not to work on EU issues and not to work on the familiar transatlantic US, NATO, Europe kind of issues, but to work on the global issues in Europe, to work on Europe's relations with China, with the Middle East, global issues like nuclear and proliferation issues, trade, climate. That's the niche we occupy in Europe.
The Middle East is going through a huge transformational change today. It's a change that I believe will not be measured in days, months, or even years, but probably in decades.
We are well known throughout the Middle East. We publish in Arabic, so we reach out to audiences that would not otherwise be reached by an ordinary English-speaking publication.
Thousands of protesters committed to a new Egypt flooded into Tahrir Square one more time.
Revolutions are always better at starting change than institutionalizing it. This is where Carnegie comes in, with the knowledge that our experts have, with the fact that they are from the region. They are uniquely placed in order to study these transitions and be able to offer such roadmaps in both the political and economic front.
The historical significance of what's happening in this Arab Spring is that it isn't about us. It's about them.
This is nowhere near Chernobyl-like levels of radiation.
It's a very young, modern, progressive population which deeply aspires to live in a more open society.
这才是导致我们贸易逆差的原因。
A think tank is a bridge that connects governments, business, experts in academia and science, and works across those linkages, which no other kind of institution does. Carnegie is a special kind of think tank. It's special because internationalism lies just directly at its heart.
I liken Carnegie Global to an international space station. So you have a lot of people contributing. This is a pioneering project, and I'm very proud to be part of it.
The quality of what we do is outstanding. More people listening to us, more people reading our material, more people knowing us, and that's very satisfying.
I can't say what Carnegie will look like 100 years from now. What I hope is that it will be as it is today, I think, at the leading edge of change, that it will continue to be an institution that feels free to and ready to redefine itself constantly as the world changes around it. Because that, I think, is what makes it unique.